Hi, and thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'm going to talk you through the tracks of my last album, just a little bit about what inspired each one, and then at the end I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm getting up to at the moment. Okay, so this first song is called Who Needs a Knight, then brackets When You've Got Your Own Steed. And basically what inspired that was I had a singing student who'd had quite a nasty breakup of her engagement, and she commented to me that she didn't want a knight in shining armour, and if she met one she'd just ask to borrow the horse. And I thought there had to be a song in there somewhere, and I've always loved Arthurian legends. I actually did a master's in Old English and medieval literature. This is of course not a medieval sound, but it's got that kind of imagery in it. So this is Who Needs a Knight, just a little snippet. Okay, so track number 2 on Peregreni, and incidentally I should probably explain the term Peregreni means wanderers. I come from Bangor in Northern Ireland, and we had a group of medieval monks who jumped in some boats from Bangor, and instead of taking oars with them they just raised their sails and believed that where the wind took them was where God meant them to be. So the whole idea behind the album was sort of raising your sails and seeing where you ended up. It's obviously not like medieval sound, it's not Gregorian chanting or anything, but it's about the idea of adventure, really, and possibility. So this second track is Illumination. I was named one to watch twice by Nashville Songwriters Association International on the back of Illumination. It's kind of my sing-along number, and it's definitely the carrier single of this album. Now, I could make up some really spiritual or interesting story about why I wrote it, but the truth is it was based on an episode of America's Next Top Model. So this is Illumination.
When the nights got warmer, there was a brighter flame, a world like no other, appearing when you came, like a firework bursting on a jet black sky. Illumination, a sudden spark to melt an ice cold life. Illumination, a shooting star to mark a change of heart. Illumination, and I won't go back to when the nights were dark. Illumination,
This next track is a very personal track to me. It's called Veil of Angels. I played it in Club Yaw in Donegal, which was hosted by Moya Brennan this February, and she really loved this song. In fact, she blessed me after I sang it, which was lovely. So Veil of Angels is the name of the coast where I live in Northern Ireland. St. Patrick apparently had a dream when he arrived here of angels descending from heaven because he was so awestruck by the beauty of the coastline. Now, in modern days, it may more realistically be on a Saturday night, the Vale of Drunks. It's still overwhelmingly beautiful. And the song is about that, but it also has elements of my upbringing. My father was hit by a drunk driver when I was 7 years old, and he sustained a very serious brain injury. He was in a coma for about 6 weeks and in hospital for a long time, during which time my sister and I lived with my grandparents, and my mum was up and down to the hospital. And really, there's an element of this song that is an homage to my grandmother. So this is Veil of Angels.
my grandmother took us for walks by the sea, in the place where St. Patrick found hope in his dreams. We threw stones into buckets, had old fashioned younger in that angel veil, veil of angels, looking out to sea, veil of angels, reaching back for me.
So Pretty Little Songbird, it's the most country song that I've written, and it's really, built on the guitar hook at the start. I think being Northern Irish that I grew up with a wrong idea of what country music was, because we're surrounded here with the kind of grandma got run over by a reindeer and a country. But as I got older, I really loved stuff by Johnny Cash, loved Dolly Parton. Any woman who can say it takes real money to look this cheap is worth listening to. And I love the show Nashville. It had some amazing songs on it. And I've had the good fortune to write with some amazing Nashville-based songwriters of recent years. So it's just given me a bit more of an idea of what country is and a bit more of a love of it. So this is my country number. This is Pretty Little Songbird. This next song is a very different song form. It's what they call AABA form, which is a style of music that's really associated with jazz. I think this song actually goes more towards gospel thematically. It's a bit partially a Christmas number because it's got gold, frankincense, and myrrh in it. But really, I love that, like Judy Garland, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas vibe around that time. So I'm hoping it's like a non-cheesy Christmas song. This is Heaven Met Earth.
Heaven met earth, I couldn't tell at first. I had known too many goodbyes, carried a load down the Emmaus road, thought I'd keep a hold on my pride. Heaven met earth.
So I really like the idea of having songs on the album that were epic and had big arrangements, such as Who Needs a Night and Don't Anchor Me, but then having moments where it was completely stripped down. So this is probably the most visceral song on the album. It's just voice and piano. This is The Silver Sea.
No sleeping, no crying, no speaking even a word. The silence between us, I'd break it if I could. You whisper my name and I turn and take your hand. Your eyes find my thoughts as we walk along the sand. Carry me away across the silver sea. Take me to the place where you want us to be.
So with the title of the album being Peregreni, which has real connotations of the sea, there's a lot of tracks on the album that have to do with the sea. And the next one is called Don't Anchor Me, in that spirit. So it's really saying, don't hold me in one place, don't stop me from doing the things that I'm capable of doing. So this is the complete opposite of the Silver Sea. With this, I wanted to go really big power ballad, basically.
Don't tell me there's no more hope. Don't say that the journey's over. let us sail to a far-off coast across the sea. Don't throw the compass out. Don't say that the sails are broken. Don't force us to turn about. Come with me. Don't anchor me. Don't anchor me. Don't anchor me.
The next song is also a really personal song. It's called Elsa Craig. Now, Elsa Craig is a very rocky island just off the coast of Ayrshire in Scotland, near Cairnryan, but you can actually see it from my home in North Down in Northern Ireland only when the weather conditions are right. So I've seen it from North Down once or twice in my whole lifetime. So when it appears, it looks quite magical and mystical across the waves. So I had at one point moved to Bath and lived in England for a year, where I received treatment for rheumatoid arthritis at the Royal National Hospital for Rheumatic Diseases. They'd actually run out of treatment that they could give me here before I left, and I was in a pretty bad way, you know, I was more or less completely disabled, so I had to make that decision to completely move away. I did a Master of Music in Songwriting while I was there, and then I moved back in about 2012. And it was that idea of being stuck between places when I moved home, like neither in one place or the other. So I wrote the line in the song, I have no home and no horizon, because I just didn't really know at that point in time where I was going to be going. So that was the theme of the song. It's very much based on Celtic folk with both an Irish and a Scottish influence. This is Elsa Craig.
I was walking one evening along the North Down coast, and as I walked, I was thinking of the one I loved the most. As the sun set on Bangor, far across the waves, dark against the horizon, I glimpsed Elsa Craig.
So the very final track on the album is called Eagle's Wings. So I happened to be in Nashville in 2014, and I visited the Belmead plantation there, and they took us out to see the cabin where some of the slaves lived. It was about the size of an average sized living room, and 16 people lived in it in one room. So they had the songs that the slaves used to sing printed on the walls of the cabin, because it's Nashville and they assume people will read music. So going up and looking at these songs on the wall, I was really struck by the Scots-Irish influence of this music. So there was a brief I needed to write to when I got home, and I'd always loved that kind of Alison Krauss kind of roots style music. So combining that with the spiritual, with the kind of Irish influence, that was sort of a natural place for me to go. And so out of that, I wrote this song, Eagle's Wings, which is based on Isaiah 40 in the Bible. The idea of renewing your strength and, you know, rising above your difficulties. So this is Eagle's Wings.
We will walk and not grow weary. We will run and not grow faint. We will rise on wings like eagles. We will heal and live again.
So that is Peregreni, which was released in 2016. Since then, I've released a new EP called My War, Your Peace, which is actually only available to people who are signed up to my mailing list, and you can find out about signing up to my mailing list below. So I hope that's been like a little bit of an insight into where I am as an artist and my influences. Now, as well as writing for myself, I also write music for other people. And this is July 2019 while I'm recording this video. I'm going to be going in a couple of weeks to Norway to write with the UK Eurovision team for 2020. So this is why I've put the album Peregreni onto Noise Trade. So you can go on to the site that this video has been recorded on, and you can give me your email address and have the entire album for free, or you can leave me a tip, which would be really kind, because those tips are going towards my Norway trip, which is something I'm really excited about. And then I'll be headed to Nashville in September, which is always a really fun place to visit. So very musical city. So lot of adventures ahead in music. I hope to do some recording in the coming months and have a few new tracks for you. Although at the moment, the music that I'm writing for other people is really taking up a lot of my time. So that's how you can be part of my musical journey. If you sign up to the mailing list, you don't get spammed. I don't email you every week. I just email you when there's something to actually tell you. And I'm always happy to hear from any of my mailing list members, you know, with any questions or comments. And like I say, when you sign up, you get a totally free EP. It's 5 tracks, which is not available on Spotify, not available on Noise Trade. It's nowhere on the internet. So it's just exclusively for my mailing list members. So also do a spot of teaching as well as writing and performing. So I've got some online courses that are available. You can check out Singing Lessons NI, as in Northern Ireland.com, which I'll put in the description of this video if you're interested in learning singing or songwriting yourself. Thank you so much for tuning into this video and for your interest in my music. If you want to subscribe, that would be absolutely amazing, because it's great to stay in touch with people. And I hope you're enjoying the summer.